to have Principal Steve Ball come lead us in the pledge, please.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Dr. Joseph.
Okay, good evening. Under awards and recognition, we will start off with the Mr. Football Award, Jacob Phillips, East Nashville High School. So tonight we're going to start by recognizing an outstanding athlete from East Nashville High School. Jacob Phillips has been named one of Tennessee's best high school football players, receiving the title of Mr. Football for Class 3A. Each year, the Mr. Football Award are presented on the top to the top back and linemen in each of the 8 classifications of the TSSAA, pronounced TSSA. Sorry. I'm sorry.
You want to pronounce it? We're waiting.
Okay, got it.
That's awesome.
Okay, so high school head coaches and members of the media nominate the finalists. The committee of statewide sports writers select the winners based upon performance in the 2016 regular season. Academics and character are also taken into consideration. Jacob is no stranger to recognition for his tremendous talent. He is a U.S. Army All-American player. He was the 2-time Region 5 3A MVP and number 4 in the Tennesseans' Dandy Dozen list of top 12 Nashville area football prospects for the class of 2017. Here to tell us more about this outstanding young man are East High School Principal Mr. Steve Ball and football coach Brian Waite.
Thank you very much for having us here this evening. We were hoping to do this sooner. We've been trying to arrange it sooner, but this young man kept going on college visits, trying to figure out where he was going to go to school. But as the principal of the school, I just want to say that Jacob is a great role model for our students. He is like having another assistant principal in the building. He is the freshman, all the sophomores, everybody looks up to Jacob. And he's a great student. As Dr. Joseph mentioned, he's academically one of our best. And he is going to be pursuing his collegiate career at LSU next year. Close enough that we'll be able to watch him play on a regular basis. But I asked Coach Waite to come and tell you a little bit about some of his achievements and what it meant to have him on our football team.
Just made our board chair very happy.
They're tigers.
Good evening. First off, I have to say it's a pleasure and honor to be here tonight to talk a little bit about Jacob, an outstanding young man. All of the accolades are well-deserved. Matter of fact, he just received another accolade this morning. He was recognized by the Tennessee High School Football.com website as Player of the Year. It's definitely been a pleasure to be his coach over the past 2 years. Again, like I said, everything he's earned, he's done a great job in earning those accolades, and his performance on the field has been outstanding. To be a 5-star athlete from Nashville, that speaks volumes, and that just speaks to the type of talent that we have here in the district, and we would like to keep our talent in the district and look forward from your support to keep our kids here and keep making Metro Athletics very shine bright and popular around the region. So we have Jacob here, and it's a pleasure to see you, son. And he's going off to LSU, and hopefully we'll get us another one later on, but this is all about him. So, thank you guys for having us this evening.
We'll come up for a picture. Okay, next this evening, we want to recognize one of our staff members who went above and beyond during an extremely difficult situation for one of our families. Mr. Andy Mazzell, who teaches EL at Margaret Allen Middle School Prep, developed a close bond with the Solano family who moved here from El Salvador 3 years ago. He became a mentor to their oldest daughter and encouraged her curiosity for learning. For example, when she became interested in a unit on the Holocaust, he brought her and a few other students to a special program at Vanderbilt to meet Holocaust survivors. She was galvanized by the experience and developed a passion for learning all she could about the subject. To encourage her, Mr. Mazzell helped her enter the Yom HaShoah commemoration contest in Memphis. The students' artwork won 3rd place for the state, and Mr. Mazzell drove her entire family to Memphis to receive the award. Even after moving on to high school, the student continued to visit Margaret Allen regularly to see Mr. Mazzell. Tragically, this young woman was killed in a tragic car accident on January 31st. Mr. Mazzell has been helping the family every day since. He even helped them go set up a GoFundMe account so they could pay for the funeral services. The family has chosen to bury their daughter in Greenwood Cemetery, which is located across from Margaret Allen. This is what Mr. Mazzell means to them. As one of Mr. Mazzell's colleagues put it, Andy Mazzell has shown the true meaning of what it means to serve Nashville children. But to him, this is just what teachers do. Tonight, in recognition of Mr. Mazzell's service and the life of Andrea Solano, I would like us to take a brief moment of silence. Okay, thank you. Okay, we have Mr. Mazzell here and the family. If we would like to come to the podium, Mr. Mazzell, if anything you'd like to say.
I don't have anything prepared, but just this is the closest family that I've ever been with, just relationship-wise, and just Adriana and Andrea both were like my own children, so I'll be forever grateful that they buried her across from Margaret Allen, and just they are my family, so I don't feel like I'm a teacher doing something for them, so yeah.
Again, we thank you for your service. And Mr. Mazzell, as a token, we have a plaque for you. Okay, and lastly, this year, Bailey Middle School relocated to the campus of Stratford STEM Magnet School. Cheekwood Museum of Art reached out to the school earlier this year with a unique opportunity to acquire a portrait of the school's namesake. Here to share more is Dr. Janet Wallace, principal of Stratford Elementary Magnet's lower campus.
Thank you, Dr. Joseph. It's hard to follow that last. Sorry.
It is.
Okay, this is a portrait by a Brown Country Artist Commune member, Wayman Adams. Do you want to? This is John Bailey, Professor Bailey. He was born in 1831, died in 1917. He was born in Virginia, and he served before the Civil War with the 5th Regiment North Carolina State Troops. He taught music at the Randolph-Macon College, which is located in Ashland, Virginia. And he moved to Nashville in 1873 when he took the job of supervisor of music in the Nashville Public Schools for 44 years. So we are very pleased. I don't know if Miss Swallow is here tonight, but we've had about 9 months of phone calls backwards and forwards to organize this, and we're delighted to have this portrait to hang in our brand new school. So thank you, and thank you for allowing me to come today.
So I want to thank publicly Ms. Amanda Kill for bringing Mr. Mizell and his heroic acts to our attention. I do appreciate that. And after tonight, when I watch Jacob Phillips play ball next year at LSU, I'm going to say, I got my picture taken with him. And so we'll move on to the good news is, and tonight we have the student ambassadors from Hillwood High School. If they would please come to the podium and share their experiences.
Hello. My name is Levi. I'm a senior at Hillwood High School. I am in the Art, Design, and Communications Academy. I am in both the dual credit enrollment at Nashville State and the industry certification class with Adobe. This is some of the work that something that I did this year. One of the teachers' husbands started a business, a painting and home renovation business, and they asked our school if we could make up some designs, and my design was chose. And here's his business card. There's an actual business using something that I made.
All right, very good.
Hello, good evening. My name is Tavion Turner. I am also a senior at Hillwood High School. I am in the Health Academy at Hillwood. My pathway is diagnostic services. Throughout Hillwood, I have learned what it means to be persistent and passionate about what education is or values of life. Also, I am in the Health Occupation Students of America, shortly known as HOSA. This year, I am the 2016-2017 president, and we are going to regional state competitions in April since we have progress through our achievements in winning first place as a school. So I am also with my accomplishments in Health Academy, I am enrolled in dual enrollment, medical terminology, and physiology, and also I am in the EMS certifications program at Hillwood.
Very good. Can we get a picture up? Sure. Amy? And next we have an update on Whitsett Elementary. I think we have Principal Justin Uppinghouse here. Thank you.
Good evening, Dr. Joseph and members of the board. Our L5 Innovation Office would like to introduce Principal Justin Uppinghouse for him to share the good news of what's happening at Whitsett Elementary School.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Good evening, Dr. Joseph and members of the board. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to come and share the success of our school. I'd like to go ahead and have the opportunity to discuss the transformation of John B. Whitsett Elementary School. My name is Justin Uppinghouse, and I am in my third year of serving as the executive principal at Whitsett Elementary School. We are extremely fortunate to have 451 amazing students in our school. 70% of our scholars are Hispanic, 13% are African American, 13% are white, and 2% are Asian. 67% of our school population is economically disadvantaged. Whitsitt Elementary School was designated for the L5 Innovation Schools during the 2014-2015 school year, and our turnaround efforts began in the spring of 2015. In the beginning of the turnaround work at Whitsitt, it was evident that systems, structures, and processes needed to be created to raise expectations for our students and ensure that best practices in instruction were occurring. For this reason, our instructional team developed an instructional focus which placed intentionality and specific high-leverage strategies to improve student learning. We determined that through daily collaborative planning, teachers would develop and ask high-quality questions that would support academic conversations and encourage our students to cite evidence from the text. In addition, when assessing our students, we wanted to create a format that would mimic the end-of-the-year assessment that students would be facing in order to predict their achievement and address their areas of needs. The laser-like focus that we've had has continued to decrease the achievement gap and improve student performance across all grade levels. One data point that we consider to be of high importance at Whitsitt is text-level assessments, or student reading levels. As you can see in the graph, when comparing mid-year TLA data from the year prior to L5 designation to our current date, the graphic indicates that the percentage of students reading at or above grade level continues to increase. Students reading at or above grade level has improved from 40% in the spring of 2014 to 49% in the spring of 2015, 55% in the spring of 2016, and currently during our winter TLA, our students showed 60% of our students being at or above grade level. Based on these consistent and reliable practices in reading with collaborative planning, whole group instruction, and our guided reading implementation, we predict that 73% of our students will read at or above grade level as determined by the text level assessment given at the end of the school year. In order to support Whitsitt's instructional focus, our school improved its instructional practices in text-based planning, high-quality questioning, and vocabulary instruction. In addition, we utilized an assessment platform which aligned the rigorous Tennessee standards with assessments questions from other states' end-of-the-year assessments. The demanding assessment strategy allows for us the ability to predict how our students will perform on the Tennessee end-of-year assessment. As you can see over the past year, Whitsitt has increased its achievement in reading as well as decreased the learning gap between our school and others completing the ANET assessment. Additionally, Whitsitt faculty has placed a focus on accountable talk, number talks, and rigorous math tasks and numeracy. This emphasis on combining conceptual learning and computation strategies has been greatly effective for our students in mathematics. As you can see in this slide, it illustrates an overall increase in math achievement data as well as completely eliminating the learning gap between our schools and others that are completing the ANET assessment. To me, this is pretty impressive. We're very excited about the data that we're showing in this assessment. With the assistance of our Community Achieve Site Coordinator, Chris Edgegary, Whitsitt has been able to increase the number of community partners that support our school and students academically and socio-emotionally. Partners volunteer in our reading clinic, serve in our Math Brigade tutoring program, provide our teachers with school supplies and equipment for instruction, and support another high-level strategy that we implement at Whitsitt to improve student performance that we call Power Monday. Power Monday is an opportunity for our community partners to come to Whitsitt and offer enrichment opportunities for our children while our faculty is able to complete planning with grade level verticality and also school-wide professional development initiatives. Power Monday is another initiative that supports the 4 pillars of performance-based instruction by offering experiences that extend meaning and connecting learning to real-world opportunities for our students. For example, during Power Monday, our students were able to enter into the mobile planetarium and experience life in space. They were able to learn about financial literacy through junior achievement and observe and research animals from the Nashville Zoo. Our students were also allowed to design robots in our robotics program that they were able to experience. As you can see by the slide, we started with 4 partnerships in 2014 and clubs in our school, and currently we have 51 partnerships from the community and also 8. Student and parent experiences are also important factors in our school's success. As you can see from the quotes from our students, they love the frequent interaction with our community partners. I would also like to introduce two of our wonderful Whitsitt parents, Sonia Cornelio and Monica Kirk, who will share their experiences of our school turnaround efforts.
I'm going to pinch hit as a translator. I'm Chris Echegari, the Community Chief Site Manager, and this is Sonia Cornelio.
Muy buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Sonia Cornelio. Tengo dos hijos en Whitsitt Elementary School.
My name is Sonia Cornelio, and I have two students at Whitsitt Elementary School.
También tengo un hijo en middle school. Estuvo en Whitsitt. Soy la coordinadora de eventos para nuestro PTO.
I also have a son in middle school who attended Whitsitt, and I'm also the events coordinator for our PTO.
Gracias a la Junta Escolar por invitar a nuestra escuela a Whitsitt. Nosotros, los padres de familia, estamos muy contentos con lo que está pasando en nuestra escuela.
Thank you to the school board for inviting our school. Our families are very happy with what's going on at Whitsitt.
Con el director, los maestros y el personal. Yo he visto muchos cambios académicamente.
We're very pleased with Director Uppinghouse, Principal Uppinghouse, our teachers, and our staff. We've seen a lot of changes academically in our school, and we're very proud.
Estoy muy orgullosa por eso. Ahora tenemos oportunidades que antes no teníamos. Los alumnos tienen club de matemáticas después de la escuela.
Now we have opportunities that we didn't have before. Our students have math club after school.
Tenemos el club de maratón antes de la escuela y el club de jardinería, de reciclaje, mejor conocido como la máquina verde.
We also have our Marathon Kids Club before school. We also have our garden club and our very well-known Green Machine, which is our recycling club.
Los padres tenemos Padres Comprometidos, respaldado por Conexión América.
And for parents, we have Parents as Partners, which is supported by Conexión Américas.
Tenemos el Club de Nutrición de parte de la Universidad de Tennessee.
For parents, we have nutrition courses sponsored by the University of Tennessee.
Y muchas otras sesiones informativas de todo tipo.
And many informative sessions of a lot of subjects.
Creemos que todo esto es posible gracias a nuestro querido director, Uppinghouse, y el personal de la escuela, el señor Chris Echegaray y todos los profesores.
And we think that all this is possible thanks to Principal Uppinghouse, the entire staff at the school, and all of the teachers. Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you for having us. My name is Monica Kirk, and I have two children at Whitsitt, one in pre-K and one in second grade. I am also the vice president of our PTO. As a parent, I'm happy with what's going on at Whitsitt, from the academics to the extracurricular activities and opportunities for our family as a whole. It's a happy place thanks to Mr. Uppinghouse and his staff. My children are growing as students and community members. Whitsitt has a faculty and staff that cares for its families, from my pre-K daughter working with the community partner Plant the Seed, and my second grader listening to classical music. There are lots of fun programs and opportunities for us all. When my son got there a little over a year ago, he was behind in every subject. And now he's on grade level, and he's actually beyond in reading where he's supposed to be at. And that wouldn't be possible without the teachers and the staff. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Sonia and Monica. To go ahead and close, I would like to thank the state and the district who have provided both funding and staff development through the School Improvement Grant, the Department of Student Services, Community Achieves, the MNPS EL Department, and the L5 Innovation Office. I'd also like to thank the board and Dr. Joseph for this opportunity. I would also like to thank the Whitsitt faculty and staff for their continued efforts to make Whitsitt a wonderful place to go to school and work. I'm here presenting our school, but they make it run each day. And then finally, I'd like to thank our Whitsitt families who continue to support our school and children through volunteering, asking great questions, participating in school events, and maintaining our community garden each and every day. Our school is a reflection of our community, and our community is the foundation of our school. Please join me in a round of applause for our Whitsitt families. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Congratulations.
You and Dr. Mr. Eppinghaus, could we have a picture opportunity, please? Thank you, Mr. Eppinghaus. Appreciate that. Okay, we're moving on to public participation portion of our meeting. The names will be displayed on the screen. Please look at the screen to see when it's your turn to speak. You'll be given 3 minutes in which to state your case. So, Mr. Eric Hoop is first batter up.
Hi, thanks for letting me speak this evening, Ms. Shepard, members of the board, Dr. Joseph. First of all, I would like to add my words of encouragement to the Whitsitt family and what great things they have been able to accomplish in a short period of time under Dr. Uppinghaus. He has clearly been a leader who is able to make a positive change in a school without taking a negative approach. He's really done amazing things, as has the faculty. So thank you very much for your hard work. In addition to that, I want to talk about 2 other things, and that is the first one has to do with protecting immigrant students in our schools. This is an issue that you began to address back in December by passing a resolution, and at that time you indicated that you wanted the director to bring some policies forward. Over the next month or so, we're going to try to share with you some ideas that we have, and some of my teacher colleagues will follow me with some specific suggestions. But just keep in mind that this continues to be a hard time for immigrant students and families within our country and in our city. And I want to thank you for the work that you've already done in that area. You were early adopters in a resolution, and it's something that Nashville should be proud of. The other thing I have to talk about is later on your agenda, you have 164 individuals that are up for tenure, and I want to congratulate each and every one of them. And I want to thank Deborah Story for getting that list together and really bringing that forward as timely as we can, given the way the testing requirements are for tenure. And in this state. We did talk to her about that earlier, and we're really glad to see that it's come forward quickly, and you have a very well-organized list to work from, and I encourage you to approve all 164 of them. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Huth. Next, we have Pastor James Turner.
Good evening to Dr. Joseph, Director, and to you fine members of this great board. This here, kind of like an introduction. I represent not only a pastor of New Hope in the Hillsborough cluster, but also the Natural Rise organization. A year ago, we started a clergy coalition, which we started together to kind of collectively see what can we do as pastors in the city to support our school districts, our teachers, the students, and as well as the parents. So for over a year, we've been meeting and doing school tours around the district of this great city. Also, we have been engaging parents across the city as well, opening our doors. We wanted to see what can we do outside of worshiping on Wednesday and Sundays, and to see how can we open our doors to the community to help every school, to help every student to be the best they can be, to be career ready, to be college ready when they graduate here in this great city. I'm standing here, a product of the public school system, working on my doctorate now, and so I owe a lot of that to this education from the public schools. That's why my heart is in this of what we are doing collectively as pastors. In addition to school tours, we also partner with a lot of organizations. We also educate our parents, bringing resources to them from this district to give to our congregation. And we also try to see what we can do with our after-school program, mentoring, and adopting the school so we can help our schools and our communities. And we're just here to not only represent the Natural Rise, but again, to just let you know that we are here, and there are a group of pastors that are here and clergy members and a faith community that are very concerned about our students and want the best for them, and we are like-minded, and anything you need from us, we are here. We're not just we're more than just advocacy. We are here to engage the students and to be a resource to you all here. So thank you for this time. I just want to introduce you to the Natural Rise Clergy Coalition, who've been meeting over a year, and look forward to working with you and partnering with each and every one of you all in our schools around our neighborhood. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you. Ms. Deonta Williams. Ms. Deonta Williams.
Good evening.
My name is Deonta Williams, and I have the privilege of serving Nashville Rise now as the director. Nashville Rise is a parent advocacy organization with the mission to inform, engage, and empower parents, to elevate their voices, to be more actively involved in ensuring their children are accessing a high-quality school. And I really wanted us to come tonight because over the past couple of months, we've had parents come up and talk to you all about some of the work that's been going on. And I recently found out that there was never a formal introduction of who Nashville Rise is. And so obviously you all deserve that because we've been serving in the community, engaging parents to ensure that we work in partnership. Since I've taken the helm, one of the things that we established were 5 core values. And one of the core values that stick out most importantly to me is that we have strong and respectful relationships. Now, one thing that we know is that all of you all and all of us intend that all of our children graduate from high school, college, and/or career ready. Now, we may not agree on how we think they should get there, but we do believe that ultimately this is the outcome. And so we want you all to know that us as a parent advocacy organization intend to work strategically in partnership with you all so that we can engage all families and all children to ensure that they graduate college and/or career ready. And so we will be reaching back out to you respectively, asking for partnering opportunities to engage districts that you represent so that we can work together to make certain that our parents are truly informed, empowered, and engaged to be actively involved in their child's education. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Dr. Joseph and members of the board. I'm here to talk to you about passing a school safe zone resolution, which I have copies that I'll leave with you. As MNEA teachers, we come to you today deeply concerned for the safety of our immigrant students in the face of potential increase in ICE raids and deportations. We appreciate that the school board's proactive and supportive messaging in the recent memos pertaining to the protection of our immigrant students. However, considering the political reality of the current moment, we ask that the school board consider taking further action to support MNPS students by adopting a school safe zone proposal. Since 2011, the ICE-sensitive locations policy has given some degree of protection to schools by naming them sensitive locations, where, under most circumstances, ICE cannot conduct arrests, interviews, or searches for immigration enforcement purposes. However, this is a policy that was created under the Obama administration, and it is not a law. Therefore, this should not be seen as a permanent protection for our immigrant students and their families, as there is a possibility that the current administration could reverse or ignore policies like this one regarding ICE activity. So therefore, we urge the board to immediately take action to protect students by adopting a school safe zone policy. Across the country, school districts are adopting school safe zone proposals that increase the level of protection for their immigrant students. And our school district has the opportunity to be the first in Tennessee to adopt a school safe zone proposal. A school safe zone proposal would include several important components that enhance student safety. First, it would create a protocol for staff when interacting with ICE. We prepare our staff to protect students in case of a fire, a tornado, a lockout, but staff are not prepared to keep students safe in case that they suddenly lose their guardians or should be removed by ICE at school or on the way to and from school. Secondly, we ask that you create rapid response teams for minors who are students who could potentially suddenly lose access to their guardians. We need to ensure that students who are suddenly without guardians continue to receive shelter and care in the short term. So there are community organizations currently working on putting together resources that we can put you in touch with. We also ask that you make sure to eliminate any requirements that families provide documentation of students' birth country when registering for school, as these documents could be used to split families apart from their students. We believe that as the mission of our school district is to provide the best education possible for all students, it is in all our students' best interest that schools remain as safe, peaceful, and free from trauma and emotional duress as possible. Please consider adopting a school safe zone resolution in order to maintain our schools as safe learning environments for our most vulnerable students. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Paige Delosier? Ms. Delosier is here, not here tonight? All right, moving on. Oh, all right. Gotta be quick.
All right. Good evening, members of the school board, Dr. Joseph. My name is Paige Delosier. I'm a teacher at a Metro Elementary School in second grade, and I'm here to speak on behalf of myself and all the teachers at my school as we attempt to navigate the complex structure of today's social climate. Other than a message on January 30th from Dr. Joseph that we received, we haven't gotten any other guidance on how to respond to students when they bring us their concerns over safety or their future here in America. The concerns our immigrant students have about their safety are real ones, and we as their teachers are charged not only with their academic success, but with making these schools places where they can truly feel safe every day. Because of this enormous responsibility, we would like some guidance on how we are expected to respond to our students when they do come to us with their concerns on this matter. I have a few examples of comments our students have already brought to us and several members of my faculty, so you can really understand what kinds of issues our students need help facing on a daily basis. Quote, "Why did we choose the bad man who is going to make us all leave?" Quote, "I am scared I will be sent back to Mexico." Quote, "He is going to send us back to our country because we don't belong here." Quote, "I heard someone is going to kill him because he is sending people back to their countries." Quote, "I don't want to come to school because he is making people go back to their countries." Quote, "Will someone come to school to look for us?" Teachers are also full of questions like, what if a child doesn't get picked up and we cannot find contact with their guardians? Or what do I say to a child who comes in the morning in tears because family members were taken away from them in the night? Our students are part of our family, and as such, we cannot ignore the stresses so many of them face on a daily basis, since, as you well know, a child's emotional health is paramount to his ability to learn. We should be proactive as a district in making a plan to respond when they bring these stresses to us as the adults that they trust. We need guidance in the form of a specific protocol from the board on how we as the faculty and staff of MNPS should respond to our students in these situations. I trust you can look beyond this as a political matter and see it as a sincere concern for our students' sense of safety and belonging. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening to Dr. Joseph and the rest of this board. My name is DeVan Franklin, and I'm privileged to serve as a staff minister of Lake Providence Missionary Baptist Church here in Nashville. And I'm here today as a part of a group of clergymen and clergywomen, along with Pastor Turner and Ms. Neonta Williams, with an organization called Nashville Rise. And we're here to help education in Nashville be the best that it can be. And as clergy, we're given the responsibility of the spiritual care of those who are members of our congregations. We also have the social responsibility to advocate on behalf of our members by seeking justice and equality in areas where it is absent. Many of us as clergymen and clergywomen of color understand the history and of advocacy that people of faith have engaged in to drive toward quality and equality in education in this country and even in this very city. Additionally, there's no doubt that the subject of education has been in the national spotlight recently with the controversial confirmation of Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos, as well as the recent meeting of presidents of historically black colleges and universities with President Trump. Now, while feelings and opinions on either of these events may vary, I'm glad that education is being brought to the forefront and into the spotlight. So often it is overlooked in the vast chasm of political debate. Yet no other factor may be more important in securing a prosperous future for our country, our state, and our city. With knowing that education, there's a lot of different pieces that go into making it work successfully. Ms. Williams asked me what was near and dear to my heart and what I hear from my congregants and families about what their concerns are about our education system. One of those things that always comes up is fair funding for every student. Recently, the 6th edition of the National Report Card on School Funding was released by the Educational Law Center. Based on their 4 measures of fairness in school funding, they said, quote, Tennessee scored poorly in all areas except funding distribution. With a low funding level and low fiscal investment, even a progressive distribution of funds will result in an unfair system. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the board, I do recognize that Nashville is not necessarily representative of the entire state of Tennessee, but we are one of the largest school districts in the state. So I lift this not by way of complaint or criticism, but by way of inspiration and motivation, that as a capital city of our great state, we will seek to set the trend of equality in educational funding, understanding that every child, regardless of race or religion, color or creed, economic status or station, is equally valuable and should have equal access and opportunity for their dreams to be supported by a great educational system in this great city. Understanding that without struggle, there is no progress. I and the clergy women and clergy men who are standing with me with Nashville Rise are committed towards struggling to this end with the school board in partnership, having in mind the best interests of our students as our primary goal. Thank you again for allowing me the opportunity to speak. God bless you all.
Thank you. Ms. LaShawn Covington.
Good evening, everybody. I'm LaShawn Covington, and I am a parent of a student who goes to Brick Church Middle. I guess I should start off by saying my son, this is his first year at Brick Church Middle. He's in the 7th grade. He formerly went to J.T. Moore. While he was there, lost a big brother due to gun violence. So proceeding through the school year, he was kind of down. And we moved in the summer and moved into the East Nashville area. I'd been riding up and down the street, going back and forth, moving stuff from the old house to the new house, and I'm thinking, what school are we going to get him into this year? My son pays attention to everything, and he looked up and said, Mama, Brick Church has school registration on this date at this time. And I'm looking at him like, how do you know? And he's like, you've been up and down this street a million times, and I saw it. So needless to say, I went to Brick Church Middle, and I registered him for school. And upon my son going into school, he's really shy and withdrawn, and he was just in a slump. He was 12 years old and in a slump. And whatever's happened at Brick Church Middle, he is out of that slump. His grades academically have gotten better. He was terrible in math. He has a B in math. And he hadn't got to that A yet, but he has a B in math. I would like to also give credit to the teachers at Brick Church Middle, because upon me going into the school, each and every teacher there has welcomed me. But then I took notice of this one particular teacher who, before school, combs hair, gives showers, deodorant, pads, things of that nature, things that probably a lot of parents don't even know that we need in the schools. I got with this teacher and did help to bring some things into the school, just because when kids look better and are better, they do better. And I just think that as a parent, she's a parent as well, and as a parent, for me, seeing that warmed my heart to know that also, not just as being a parent, but as a teacher, that she cared that much to care that other kids were there and having what they needed in order to be able to learn. I want to also thank Nashville Rise. I met with them yesterday, and they kind of came and just to see what I thought about the school, and I gave them my input, and I think we're going to be great together working with them, and I thank them for involving the parents. I will be out in the communities as well, trying to get other kids to be able to come to the school, and I just want to thank you all for allowing me to speak this evening.
Thank you. We'll now move on to our consent agenda. Ms. Spearing?
Thank you, Madam Chair. 1A, recommended approval of change order number 1 for Casa Asafran Classroom Expansion, Dowdle Construction Company. B, recommended approval of site acquisition of 0.27 acres for a parking lot for Martin Luther King Jr. Magnet School. Recommended approval of site acquisition. C, recommended approval of site acquisition of 5.26 acres for a parking lot for Thomas Edison Elementary School. D, awarding of purchases and contracts. 1, awardee for ITB number B 17-8 roof repairs, Davis Brothers Roofing, Escola Roofing. 2, Catapult Learning. 3, Connexion Americas. 4, Fitworth LLC. 5, Live School. 6, Middle Tennessee Exterminators. 7, Noser Consulting. 8, Trevecca Nazarene University. And E, Tenure Teacher List 2017. Madam Chair, I move to approve the consent agenda as read.
Can I get a second? Second. Okay. All in favor? Consent agenda passes as read. All right. So we'll move on to approval of student and school and student characteristics. Dr. Joseph?
Okay, at this time, I'll turn it over to Dr. Carlisle, who will continue to discuss our process.
We're actually holding that until the work session on the 14th because we weren't able to get you all the feedback. We had so much community feedback on the student characteristics. We weren't able to compile it at all and get it to you by last Friday. So we'll be sending the student characteristics this Friday. Then you'll have both, and then we'll discuss it at the next meeting that we have of the board, the strategic planning working session.
Okay, on the 14th.
On the 14th.
Okay, all right.
Yes, that and the strategies as well as the key performance indicators. We'll come back to all of those pieces.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item number 3, approval of voucher resolution. Ms. Frobe.
So this board has passed voucher resolutions in the past, and I have brought the voucher resolution for reconsideration because we continue to have pending voucher bills in the Tennessee legislature. So I will read the resolution that I brought. A resolution opposing vouchers to pay for private school tuition. Whereas the Metropolitan Nashville Board of Public Education is responsible for providing a local system of public education, and whereas there is pending legislation before the Tennessee General Assembly that would create a voucher program allowing students to use public education funds to pay for private school tuition, And whereas more than 50 years have passed since private school vouchers were first proposed, and during that time, proponents have spent millions of dollars attempting to convince the public and lawmakers of the concept's efficacy. And yet, 5 decades later, vouchers still remain controversial, unproven, and unpopular. And whereas the Constitution of the State of Tennessee requires that the Tennessee General Assembly, quote, provide for the maintenance, support, and eligibility standards of a system of free public schools, end quote, with no mention of the maintenance or support of private schools. And whereas the state of Tennessee, through work of the Tennessee General Assembly, the Tennessee Department of Education, the State Board of Education, and local school boards, has established nationally recognized standards and measures for accountability in public education. And whereas vouchers eliminate public accountability by channeling tax dollars into private schools that do not face state-approved academic standards, do not make budgets public, do not adhere to open meetings and records laws, do not publicly report on student achievement, and do not face the public accountability requirements contained in major federal laws, including laws that protect students with special needs. And whereas vouchers have not been effective at improving student achievement or closing the achievement gap, with the most credible research finding little or no difference in voucher and public schools performance. And whereas vouchers leave many students behind, including those with the greatest needs, because vouchers channel tax dollars into private schools that are not required to accept all students, nor offer the special services they may need. And whereas vouchers give choices to private schools, not students and parents, since private schools decide if they want to accept vouchers, how many and which students they want to admit, and the potentially arbitrary reasons for denying admission or for subsequently dismissing a student. And whereas voucher programs divert critical dollars and commitment from public schools to pay private school tuition for a few students, including many who already attend private schools, and whereas vouchers are an inefficient use of taxpayer money because they compel taxpayers to support 2 school systems, one public and one private, the latter of which is not accountable to all taxpayers supporting it. And whereas in Davidson County, about 1/3 of school funding is from the state, yet proposed legislation requires vouchers for half the per pupil expenditures, creating a funding drain with a greater negative impact on metropolitan Nashville public schools than on most other districts. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Metropolitan Nashville Board of Public Education as follows. The Metropolitan Nashville Board of Public Education opposes any legislation or other similar effort to create a voucher program in Tennessee that would divert money intended for public education to private schools. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution should be delivered to the governor, the lieutenant governor, the Speaker of the House, and every member of the General Assembly. I move that we adopt the resolution approve the resolution as read.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. Can we have any discussion?
Yes, I wanted to share a little bit of the recent research that is coming out around vouchers, because it's even more dismal than previous research. There have been 3 recent studies of statewide voucher programs that not only show that vouchers don't work to improve outcomes for students, but they actually hurt student learning. The first study examined the Indiana voucher program that quickly grew under then-Governor Mike Pence to serve tens of thousands of students. This study concluded, in mathematics, students who transfer to private schools experience significant losses in achievement and no improvement in reading. A second study of Louisiana's voucher program, which serves predominantly low-income African-American students from public schools with low ratings by the state, found large negative results in both math and reading. Public elementary students who started at the 50th percentile in math and then used a voucher to transfer to a private school dropped to the 26th percentile in a single year. And the third study that's recently come out was by the Thomas B. Fordham Institute, a conservative think tank and proponent of vouchers. It found that in Ohio, students who used vouchers to attend private schools fared worse than closely matched peers in public schools. The results were worse in math. This study was financed by the pro-voucher Walton Family Foundation. It's also notable that in other states, vouchers have been used to pay for private schools for children who have never been in public schools. So 5 years after the Indiana voucher program was established, more than half of the voucher recipients have never attended an Indiana public school, meaning taxpayers there are now covering private and religious school tuition for children whose parents had previously footed the bill. Many vouchers there are going to wealthier families, including those earning up to $90,000 per year for a family of four. So vouchers are clearly a failed experiment, and I think we would do very well to avoid them in Tennessee.
Ms. Pinkston?
Yeah, so prior to the board meeting, we had a governance committee meeting where we had some discussion about hostile legislation, not voucher legislation, but charter legislation that would attempt to accelerate the expansion of charter schools in the district and elsewhere. So I think it's just kind of important to go ahead and recognize that the same people that are behind legislation that would lead to more unabated charter growth are the same people who are behind, some of the same people who are behind this voucher legislation. And I think the lines between charters and vouchers are more blurred than they've ever been, partly because of what's going on in Washington. And I think, for that reason, our job as local elected officials is more important than it's ever been. We are on the front lines along with our educators and our students and families, so I completely support the resolution. I think, making a statement is one thing, but being prepared to fight, when and if the time comes in court, if necessary, is something else. So I'm voting yes, and I'm ready to have longer, more detailed discussions if we need to in the future. Thank you.
Yeah, I just had a question, I guess, for you. I did not hear any hostile charter legislation that Mr. Pinkston mentioned. I absolutely support the voucher resolution, but I must have been in a different committee meeting, so I didn't hear any of that.
Anybody else? Any comments? Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor for this voucher resolution.
Just ready to vote.
Okay, all right, so all in favor, please show of hands. Opposed? None. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Vogt. Okay, moving on to the director's report.
Hey, well, thank you. This year we have been focused on literacy. So tonight we wanted to bring to you some literacy data that we have in our text level assessments and also in our new test that we're administering, the measures of academic progress in reading. We feel it's important as a district that we know where we are with our reading data and understand what this data says as we are charged with developing plans and targeting resources to dramatically ensure that all children in this district are reading on grade level. I think the district had begun great work in the past focused on literacy, and we've continued to try to expand some of those partnerships and the work that has been underway, and we feel like the data tonight shows that there is promise that when you focus on work, you can improve. But again, recognizing there's much work to do within this district. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to our Executive Director of Research, Assessment, and Evaluation, Dr. Paul Changus, and he's going to share the results of our benchmark assessments for both the text level assessments and the measures of academic progress in reading.
Thank you, Dr. Joseph. Madam Chair, members of the board, it's a pleasure to be in front of you today to show some of the mid-year results that we have, starting with the text level assessment data. These assessments are administered in grades K through 4 and 3 times a year, and we just completed the winter administration in December. It takes a little while for all of that data to be compiled. It's sent by teachers into curriculum and instruction, organized, and then loaded into our data warehouse. The assessment has 3 components: reading accuracy, fluency, and comprehension. Students' level is determined for both fiction and nonfiction, and by level we're talking about both their independent and instructional levels. And by independent level, we're talking about the level that the child can read on their own, text with ease, and excellent comprehension. Instructional level is where they need support of a teacher or parent or a tutor to help them along and to to assist them, and that's where we typically introduce new vocabulary and where we see the greatest progress in reading. So Dr. Joseph mentioned that we are seeing some positive news here, and I'm happy to show you the progress that our students made in reading benchmarks from fall to spring by grade level. And we don't have a beginning of year benchmark established for kindergarten, but the blue bars here represent the fall results from this school year, and the orange bars the winter results. And as you can see in grades 1 through 4, at each of the grade levels, we saw significant progress, anywhere from 4 percentage points that we see at grade 4 to increases of 10 percentage points. And at grade 1, we have a 10-point increase. So the first question is it typical to see this kind of progress from the beginning of the year to middle of the year? Are the standards somewhat different? We didn't see this kind of progress last year. We actually lost a little bit of ground from fall to winter the previous school year, 2015-16. So as another perspective, let's look at the results from last winter, the same benchmarks, 2015-16, with our Fountas and Pinnell text level assessments, and then this winter. And as you can see, once again, significant progress at every grade but kindergarten. A 12-point increase in students reaching benchmarks at grade 1, 3 percentage points at grade 2, 12 percentage points at grade 3, 10 percentage points at grade 4. So we're cautiously optimistic that these will translate, but these are much better scores than we saw a year ago. When we look at the results by our student subgroups, these are the winter results across grade levels, K through 4, broken up by student subgroup. So you see the first row is all students. We tested over 32,000 students, and 60% of those students met the benchmark for their grade level. Then we have the breakdown by race, ethnicity, Asian, Black, Hispanic, Native American, Pacific Islander, and white. And here, when you look at the results by benchmark, we see quite a bit of variation. Again, we have achievement gaps by race and ethnicity that persist. The low of 45% of our Hispanic students reaching benchmarks, 71% of our white students, 74% of our Native American, although that's a small subgroup of 66 students. But again, quite a variety. Not surprisingly, we see the lowest scores for our subgroups that are often defined by test scores, our English learners and our students with disabilities, with a little over a quarter of our students with disabilities reaching benchmark and a little under 1 out of 3 English learners. And we will take questions on both assessments at the end, but I'm going to transition into a new assessment that we just administered for the first time in Metro Nashville. The Northwest Evaluation Association, or NWA, MAP reading assessment. MAP stands for Measures of Academic Progress. This assessment is given annually to over 8 million students across the country. It's probably the most used interim benchmark in the country. The company itself, NWA nonprofit, has been in existence for 40 years now. They have an excellent reputation, and we'll look at some of the key features in just a moment. But this year, we implemented just the reading portion of this assessment, although we had a number of schools that also chose to do math on their own. So as I said, it was administered for the first time. We started in mid-January, completed assessment actually just last week, and in grades 2 through 8. We have a second test administration scheduled in those same grade levels in May after the state assessments are given. One of the unique features of the MAP is it's computer adaptive. That means the computer identifies test items to administer to children based on their previous responses. That allows it to be very efficient in the estimation of a student's achievement. And it's also a real bonus for those students who are functioning achievement-wise below or above grade level, who often may run into assessments that are too easy or too difficult for them. Here, we assess at the child's level of understanding. The reading component, while it's an untimed test, most students finish in under an hour. And we actually record the amount of time that each child takes on the test, which is helpful information for teachers to verify that the child took the test seriously, but also it gives us a better idea of their speed in terms of solving these types of tasks. Another favorable feature of this assessment compared to many others is that not only does it provide national norms for achievement, for instance, what is their median national percentile, or what percent of students did they outscore nationally at their grade level, but it also has normative data in terms of growth. So we can look not only how they compare to their students in terms of reaching standards, but the progress they make from beginning of year to middle of year to end of year can also be compared to students nationwide. We can determine if they're mastering the material at a comparable or faster rate than their peers. And this year, we don't have the last bullet refers to the predictive piece of this assessment. Mr. Justin Uppinghaus earlier talked about the importance of having assessments that predict to high-stakes assessments and to end-of-year goals. We certainly hope to have that next year. We can't predict where the state's going in 2 through 8 since we didn't have performance standards established last year. The state will be establishing 10 ready performance standards after the test is administered this spring. We'll probably get results in the early fall that we can start using to compare to our MAP data and set those cut points. That'll allow us in the future to identify if students are on track for success on those state assessments, if they're on track or in the mastered category. One of the interesting features of the assessment is its ability to tie test scores to learning statements. This week, we started training of a number of teachers, instructional coaches, and school administrators across the district. Every school will be participating this week or next week in interpreting and use of the data, and primarily with regard to the instructional value of these assessments. So you see a scale on the left in this box from 120 to 250. This scale is called a RIT scale. RIT stands for Rosch Instructional Unit. And George Rosch was a psychometrician who developed the mathematical models that are used here in this approach of adaptive testing. But we have told teachers to think of the RIT, R-I-T, as ready for instruction today. This score will help us identify whether a child where their entry point is on a learning continuum of skills and concepts that will help us target instructional materials for them. I think this will be very helpful with regard to differentiating instruction, personalized learning. A good part of the training, and I attended one of the sessions today with a number of our elementary and middle schools. A lot of the information is about how do I tie this back to my classroom practice. And we can identify from the scores that we receive on various performance standards what skills to reinforce that students have generally mastered. Where do we need to develop? Where are they currently functioning and ready to learn? And then what skills that may be a little more challenging do we introduce? So in this example, a child scored a 193 on the area of literature, key ideas and details. We know that this child is at a point where they're ready to determine cause in literary text, determine details that support a main idea in literary text, and determine effect in that text. And a teacher can, again, go up and down the scale, and the scales have been tied to state performance standards and state academic standards. So we're real excited about the opportunities here. And one other important point about the RIT scale, it's a longitudinal scale, which means we will be able to track student performance and growth not only within a school year, but from year to year. On our state assessments, the scale is adjusted every year, so we can't really tell how much progress a student has made from, say, second grade to third grade to fourth grade. On this scale, a score of 193 on literature will mean the same thing regardless of the grade level, so it can be adapted to that child's growth over time. This is the results by grade level in terms of RIT score. Now, the RIT scale we just saw is shown. First, we see the number of students tested, and then the mean score, or the average score. And both the mean and the median is simply the middle score in a group of students. So this is the middle score by grade level. Both the mean and the median are attempts to identify what a typical student at a grade level is doing. And generally, these numbers are going to be very close. But as we know, in a group of students, sometimes a few students with extreme scores can change the average score for that group. But this can help. It's more helpful at the classroom level for a teacher to see where their average score is and where the variation among their students is, and all of their students are shown on the RIT scale at the classroom level and at the school level. But this scale, I know, won't be particularly meaningful to us until we've had a chance to look at progress over time and to start looking at growth measures. But the one scale on the far right, the median national percentile, does have intrinsic meaning right now. The median national percentile is the percentage of students in a national sample that our typical or average or middle child outperformed. So when you look at grade 2, you see a median national percentile of 39. That means that our typical second grader outscored 39% of students nationally in reading. You see the scores go up a little bit at third and fourth grade, drop a little beginning in the fifth grade, and then bounce back up at the eighth grade, pretty close to the national average in the eighth grade, the national average being 50. 50 would be the point where our typical child outscored half of students nationwide. But this is the first time in over a decade that we have had national comparison data for our students in these grade levels. At one time, it was part of the TCAP assessment program prior to No Child Left Behind, and ever since then, we've had state but not national comparison data. This bar chart is showing the percent of students in 5 categories that we call quintiles. Quintiles are essentially breaking a group up into equal components of 20%. So the red line here indicates what the national trend would be, that you would have 20% of students in quintiles 1 through 5. Quintile 1 would be our bottom 20% of students nationally, what we call national percentiles 1 to 20. This is identified in blue as our low achievement group. So you can see that we have about 31% of our students in that group, a higher percent than the national average. Quintile 2 are those students in the low average range, between the 21st and 40th percentile. I said earlier that the national average would be the 50th percentile. That's right in the middle of quintile 3, which is our average group. Quintile 4, high average group, and then the top 20% nationally would be the quintile 5, or the high group. And as you can see, in most of most of the groups outside of Group 1, we're slightly below the national average in terms of our distribution. So we have students performing across the board from the low to the high categories. And again, this is comparing students at their grade level to a national sample. One note I'll make about quintiles, while this terminology may be new to many of us, we have used quintiles with our value-added assessment system in Tennessee for a number of years, and we will be able, through that system on our 10-Ready test, to look at the growth that our students make by quintile. So we can see if we are closing the gap, if our lowest quintiles are moving at a faster pace than the state average on the 10 ready assessments. The data that I just showed in those graphs is now broken up by grade level in table format. Again, 20% of students would fall into each quintile, and as you look up and down the column that says quintile 1, the second column here, you'll see that again we're higher than the national average in that bottom quintile, ranging from 28% at grade 8 to almost 35% at grade 6. But then we're generally, at each grade level, we see pretty comparable data where we're slightly below the national average in most of those categories. And then a breakdown by student subgroup. So what this table is showing are the percentage of students in the average range, quintile 3 or higher. So quintiles 3 through 5, nationally, we would have 60% of students in that range. When you look at the first row for all students, and this is across grades 2 through 8, we're at 51%, a little below the national average, hitting those top quintiles. As we saw with the TLAs, considerable variability in terms of our ethnic, racial subgroups. Again, more evidence that we have work to do to close the achievement gaps. And then we have a breakdown of our economically disadvantaged students, our English learners, and our students with disabilities. And as you can see, those groups are, again, performing significantly below the all student comparison group. And that is across grade levels. And Dr. Felder is going to introduce, we're going to take a look at a school perspective. We have some schools that did a tremendous job in terms of growth on our TLAs this year from fall to winter.
Indeed, we did. Good evening. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce 2 schools that are among the numerous schools that have shown significant improvement in their TLAs between the fall and winter administration. And so the 2 schools that I'd like to introduce tonight are Whitsitt Elementary School and Napier Elementary School. So you've heard from Justin Uppinghaus, but he's going to share a little bit more and regarding what's happening in his school around literacy and the work that they're doing that they believe have impacted their scores, as well as Dr. Lawless from Napier Elementary School. And joining her is Miss Brooke Taylor, who is the instructional specialist at the school. So Mr. Uppinghaus and Dr. Lawless. I heard they were doing rock, paper, scissors to decide who goes first, so we'll see who won.
I won. Good evening. My name is Watisha Lawless, and I'm the principal at Napier Elementary School, and this is Brooke Taylor. She's our instructional specialist. And thank you so much for this opportunity to come and share the wonderful things happening at Napier. We're very excited to announce that at the beginning of the school year, we had 30% of our students who were reading on or above grade level. And now, according to the winter TLA benchmark, that number has risen to 44%. And we're very excited about that. Thank you. In an effort to improve our literacy proficiency, we streamlined our instructional focus to include a few high-yield instructional strategies, such as guided reading, academic conversations, and improving language acquisition for our students through vocabulary and phonics development. Our instructional plan included professional development, alignment to the 4 pillars of literacy, which include conceptual understanding, applying the learning, communicating the learning, and extending the learning to real-world situations. Also, a review of our resources, instructional coaching, and interventionist support on every grade level. We also provide, as a principal, I work to increase my presence in the classroom. I spend at least 40% of my time in the classroom providing coaching to our students. I apologize, to our teachers. They do let me teach from time to time. The level and frequency of the feedback is based on teachers' current capacity, years of experience, and demonstrated understanding of the instructional strategies. Also, in an effort to improve our teacher capacity, we have teacher leaders on every grade level. And these are veteran teachers that have experience, proven effectiveness, and a growth mindset.
In an effort to ensure that teachers are aware of students' current literacy proficiency, as well as areas for improvement, our teachers complete bi-weekly running records. As an administrative team, we meet with each grade level to discuss student progress. Students in every grade level are growing in their ability to apply their reading strategies. Each grade level filled out a predictability report after the fall and winter benchmarks. They identified X factors that needed to happen for their students to grow in their reading skills. This also requires teachers to focus on specific skills and strategies that each student needed in order to improve their overall literacy proficiency. We have seen an increase in self-efficacy throughout the entire building, and teachers and students feel more confident in their ability because they are seeing growth. We also have a professional development plan that includes being a part of the district's literacy partnership, curriculum update meetings, monthly school-wide professional development sessions, and weekly PLCs led by myself, teacher leaders, or other district and school experts. And this has given us a strategic focus that has a direct impact on student achievement.
One other thing I want to highlight is the development of the Napier Way. It's a code of conduct that our faculty established, and it leads our efforts in ensuring that we do whatever it takes to make it happen. Also, this guides our interactions with each other, with our students, our families, and also with our community partners. The goal is to ensure that everyone feels welcome when they come to Napier, they feel a part of the family, and they are better just because of their interactions with us. So we would like to thank Dr. Joseph, the school board, and the L5 Innovation Office for their support and guidance. And at this time, I would like to thank the Napier family. They are the difference makers. They're the one that make it happen. So any success that we've realized is because of them. So I would like for the Napier family to stand. Hearts on our shirts really represent what we do, and we're truly here to serve our community. So thank you.
She stole my thunder. She must have seen my notes also, but great job. You know, I do want to go kind of off the cuff of what I had written down, but and look back to what we did last year, starting at the end of our school year. It's kind of funny to both be up here at the same time because Dr. Lawless in my school also took a trip out to Boston, and I think it was great to learn from leaders with each other and groups of leaders, the coaches and teams that went with us. But I think one thing that we really took away from the visit, and I can't speak for her, but I think that in our conversation we had that, was that it was great to see schools that had been turned around and see that we're not far from it if we just really keep those high expectations for students and staff on the forefront. And so it's obvious that that's what Napier's doing, and I want to congratulate them that's great work that they're doing. So I think that just shows that when you raise expectations, which is one of my bullet points, it makes a difference for our students. And when we went in my first year of work, it was apparent that we had to put structures in place that would raise the expectations not only for our students, but for our families, our parents, and our staff as well. And so I think that was the main part to see that, you know, we're struggling, our students are struggling, but they can make it if we put that attention towards our goals and set clear goals for our students. And that's very, very clear in the work that we're doing this year and over the last 3 years. Our school has also created accountability measures for both our students and our staff that are going to be able to help us predict where our students are going to end up at semester and at the end of the year. So as she mentioned, the X factor, what that means is that when we take where our students currently are at the beginning of the year, so when we take our first text level assessment, we see where they are, and then we plan with our students to say, where do you want to be, where can you be by the end of semester? And then that gives them a chance to hold themselves accountable, but it gives our teachers as well a chance to continuously look and say, where are we towards that goal at semester? We also, after that, which, you know, we're past the winter TLA, now we've seen that we've dominated some of those goals that we've set. and we're ready to set new ones. And so our teachers went back into that predictability measure, and they said, you know what, we're going to raise those goals for the next semester and continue to build our students. So it just allows them to continuously focus, to continuously modify, and keep on moving up in the rankings when it comes to the growth and the student growth and how many percentages are at or above grade level. We also complete data chats with our coaches and administrative team with each grade level each week. We look at student data when it comes to those predictability measures, and we say, where do we want our students to go? How are we going to group them? What can we do to best impact that student learning? And how can we make those reading levels continue to grow? We also implement high-quality high-quality academic vocabulary program where we have students learn high-frequency, high-level words that they're going to see on assessments and high-quality and complex text, and we also have vocabulary words that they're going to see on the end of the year assessment. So when they grapple with those in those texts and on the assessments, they're ready at the end of the year when they're asked to analyze or asked to predict, they can do that with no problem. So that type of vocabulary work and language acquisition is huge for our school and for our students. We also really believe that having high-quality planning and high-quality collaborative planning is important for the process. I can sit in those planning meetings and know what's going to happen tomorrow in the work that our teachers are doing. I can know when I sit down in the classroom what's going to be happening at the guided reading table and in the overall lesson and environment, which is huge for our students, because then we're able to look at classroom A and classroom B and compare the two and really know where our students are at and what's being put in place and in front of the students each day in order to help them grow. Students also track their data, which is a huge success for our students because they see where they are, they see where they should be, and they see where they want to be. And I think that really impacts them as a student to say, you know what, I can go higher and I can be better. And I'm going to be better by the end of the semester and end of the year. So when you walk up to our students, you can say, where are you reading at? And they'll tell you their reading level and where they want to be and what their goals are, which is very powerful in a school like ours that knows that they have to grow and knows that they have to move. We have informal discussions and informal data tracking where each week or bi-weekly students are their data is taken at the reading table and updated each week. So again, we know where to move our students the next week. And finally, we continue to add differentiated PD for our teachers. We have a guided reading and a guided reading 2.0 PD session for our teachers because we have some that are just starting the process and some that are already there. And I think with any PD, you want to make sure that your teachers are getting what they need in order to improve as professionals. And we also have guided reading for EL students because we have a large population of EL students. We need to focus on the modifications and accommodations that we can put in place in order for our students to be successful, which is also closing that gap, which is wonderful. And so finally, I think it's just, I want to thank you. I want to thank the work that we're doing in our L5 with Mo Carrasco and David Kovach. And I think that you'll continue to see great work out of our schools. And thank you for the opportunity to present again. Thank you.
Before I take questions, I'm going to just make one comment. I know that one of the challenges my department has is trying to isolate the effects of any particular program or intervention or strategy when we see the kind of success we saw tonight. And as you heard from our presenters, there's no one single thing that's going on. There are dozens of strategies and dozens of things that are happening every day. And I have the privilege to tutor at Whitsitt one day a week. And you can, there's just so much going on, so much energy there. And I guess it's going to be a challenge, Dr. Joseph, but it's something we will try to do. But a lot of times we have to look at the combination of factors that are going on in a building. So with that, I'll open it up for questions.
Dr. Gentry? No? Dr. Brandon?
Well, I just found it very exciting to hear that the teachers were being successful, and that was raising the level of the reading of all of the students, and it's marvelous that these things are happening in our schools. So I'm very pleased to hear the good news.
Ms. Froh?
Yes, I just want to say something similar and commend these principals and teachers for all of their great work. It's just so exciting to hear these sorts of success stories, and that sets a great foundation for us to build in other schools throughout the district. So thank you for your work.
Yeah, a couple of comments and then a couple of questions. The, excuse me, the comments are, congratulations to Napier and then also to Whitsitt. I'm, very proud to represent Whitsitt on the board, go Wildcats, and have been honored to see the school, change over, relatively short period of time. It's always been a cool school, but you can definitely get a different vibe in the building these days when you walk in. The questions I have, Dr. Chang, are twofold. One is I am a former newspaper reporter, so I'm always naturally skeptical, when I see, quick gains like this, like what's really driving that. So in the middle of the presentation, I tiptoed around and talked to Ms. Spearing, who I trust for expert advice. And the question I asked was, have we changed the type of assessment or the quality of administration of the assessments? Is there anything that could explain away this other than the fact that they're just doing, outstanding work? And her response was, but I'd like to hear yours, was it's the same assessment that was being administered before.
And I'll just share that I have, in my position, always have the similar questions and skepticism when I see those kinds of results. So I immediately went back to last year's data. First of all, the assessment and the process has not changed. I showed you graphs that went and compared last winter to this winter. I looked at last year, fall to winter. When I say I'm cautiously optimistic, I always want to see multiple measures, and we'll have other assessment data as the year goes on. But everything looks very positive that I've seen so far. And these are not insignificant increases. These are pretty major jumps in several grade levels.
Yeah, no doubt. And Principal Ebbinghaus has left the room. The second question I had was going to be around the quality of improvement in EL services. So I know he's got to get ready for school tomorrow and had to scoot out. But since you are in the building, regularly, can you speak to the improvement of the quality of EL services? Principal Ebbinghaus got to the district right around the same time the board first started having what I would consider to be a real meaningful conversation on this floor about EL services. And I'm just kind of wondering how it's going out there.
I don't know that I can say very much other than the fact that, because didn't have that opportunity in previous years to be in the building on a regular basis. I can tell you though that there's a vibe you get in the school, and as you know, it's a very high percentage English learner population. They have great resources in the building. I know that, and that we saw, the input from parents, and that relationship is real. So I can only speak anecdotally to what we've seen thus far.
Could I, Dr. Joseph, just ask for a future work session, just sort of an update on kind of what we're doing around EL innovation. The board, about 2 years ago maybe, passed a resolution asking for an innovation plan, and I think parts of it were implemented, some of it wasn't. I know it's all a work in progress, but as a board member who represents schools with 43% of the kids are English learners, I'd just love to have some focused conversation about it in the future. Thank you. And congratulations to everybody who's involved. It's great work.
Yes. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate the data that you've given us. And it seems like last year was the first year that we had TLA data presented to us. And if that may be...
Yeah, last year was the first year, I believe, of Fountas and Pinnell, and actually, I don't think I did the presentation. I think Dr. Lipsey did at that time. But this is the second year with these assessments.
So it's really exciting to see. Last year, we were amazed at how the progress of our kids. And we were hoping for much more progress. So this year, we're seeing the pendulum is swinging in the other direction. I just want to mention a couple other schools that I was really impressed with. Amqui, 63% of their first graders are reading at grade level right now. Let's see, 66% of kids at Glenview. I thought that was pretty exciting. And Rosebank, with 65%, is phenomenal. and UNA with 72% of their first graders reading at grade level. So it's very encouraging. I wanted to ask you about my major concern is looking at kindergarten. What text level are kindergarten students supposed to be at this time of year? Or whenever this assessment was administered, which was what, January?
It was administered, it actually was in December that it was administered. And I actually have a chart in my bag. I would have to pull that out to see what the standard was. It's a B? B, okay.
Okay, and the end of the year is, end of kindergarten is?
D, it's D at the end of the year.
D at the end of the year. I'm wondering if that correlation is a 4. It is a correlation of 4? Okay, so in kindergarten, we want our kids to go, from a pre-A oftentimes to a 4. That's the way I'm kind of thinking about it. Some districts actually require their kindergarten students to be at a level 6. But we're at a 4. And when I look at the scores, it looks like we're making a lot of progress, and I'm excited about that. But I'm wondering what's happening at the kindergarten level that we don't see those same advances in text level. Do we have any way of answering that question, or how are we going to address that?
I don't have an immediate answer, but it's certainly, we would need to talk to, obviously, the teachers in the field and try to get a handle. And I'll talk with Dr. Lipsey about how we might dig into that further.
And I can comment a litlittle bit, and I'm sure Dr. Felder can jump in. I think one of the things we have to do is just raise the level of expectation in this district across the board. I mean, I think that was one of the primary recommendations from the transition report, and I think we're not expecting enough of our kids in the earlier grades. And one thing I'd like us to see, Dr. Changus, is cohort data. I mean, maybe at the next board meeting, if we look at the kindergartners that we had last year, because right now we're looking year to year, they're different kids. I'd like to see is our trajectory of where kids stopped in first grade, and then as you move to the first cohort, do we have a trajectory that's going forward, and what's the rate of acceleration there? I think that'd be significant for us to see if we can tag kids in that way to be able to do that. But one of the things we know we must do is have consistent levels of expectations for all kids, and they have to be high. I mean, I'm concerned when I look at this data and you see, if you're a white student in Metro Nashville Public Schools, if you're an Asian student in Metro Nashville Public Schools, if you're a student that is not on free reduced meals, I mean, you're in the 70th percentile here when you look at that data. But our, if English is your second language, you have special needs, or your parents don't have a lot of money, we're not doing a good job of helping you reach those benchmarks. And a lot of it, I think, has to do. When you look at the research on high poverty, high performing schools, I mean, they talk about the fact that you have to have a safe environment. You need a strong principal. You need strong teachers. You need a climate of high expectation, a clear vision. You have to think about how to utilize time and be clear about what you monitor. And it's not surprising to me to see such growth at Napier and Woodsett, because if you walk in those buildings and walk through those schools, you see that in action. I mean, I remember in both schools, I remember walking at Napier, they have pictures of kids up on the board with, I want to be a doctor, or I'm going to be a teacher. They had those data targets. I mean, it's clear in your mind. And as you walk through classes, you saw teachers focused on knowing what the levels are, pushing students. You see a principal constantly in the building focusing. But I've been in schools where I've heard teachers, when I walk in and I talk about their data, the first thing they talk to me about is, our kids come from, this housing development, and our kids, our kids' parents are this or that, or it shouldn't matter. I mean, I give them the stone cold look, and just say, that just doesn't, all right, that just really, I just look at them and say, well, why does that matter? I mean, they still got to get to a D by the end of the first grade, and you need to push them. But if we don't give direction in terms of our curriculum and what the expectations across the district are, we have that variance, and that's what I'm concerned about. And Dr. Felder can talk, and as we look at this budget, it's imperative that we invest in first instruction, particularly in the early years. I mean, I'm hearing a lot about our pre-K curricula that we just bought, and I don't know. I mean, just bought prior to me coming, and I don't know if it's pushing hard enough. I mean, I think we got to talk more about that, and how do we ratchet it up. And Dr. Felder's going to be working with some folks to look at that. But our pre-K through fourth grade curricula has to be dramatically strengthened, and I think we once we get the state data, we will be able to start correlating, whether we should be at a 4 in kindergarten, or does the college-ready trajectory really predict that we should be at a 6 or a 7, and we got to be expecting at that level to push up. Dr. Vaughn, I didn't know if you wanted to add anything.
Yes, I just want to actually echo what Dr. Joseph has just said. And, when we think about where our kindergartners are, we do have to look at pre-K. We're very fortunate in this district to have a number of schools. 75% of our elementary schools have pre-K, and that's wonderful. But we know that our pre-K students, by and large, are not entering kindergarten at a pre-A level. So that means that they're not entering kindergarten knowing concepts about print. They're not entering kindergarten knowing recognizing the letters of the alphabet and the sounds that they make. They're not entering kindergarten with basic sight words. And those are things that we should expect our students to be able to do. And I know that there are some who would disagree and think that pre-K students are developmentally not ready for that. I would push back on that perspective. It's not the what, it's the how. So it's how we educate our pre-K students. So it's not drill and kill, but there are ways to ensure that they have those skills by the time they reach kindergarten. So if we want our kindergarten scores to look better, we have to raise the expectation in the pre-K program.
Yes, I just want to say that when we're thinking about kindergarten and pre-K, I'd really love to see us focus, and maybe we are, but perhaps maybe not to the degree that we need to, on children being read to, children reading big books. As Dr. Felder said, the concepts about print, learning which way print moves, that a word is different from a letter. And we have many things here that we have seen, and one of the things that we have learned over this past year is we have had a focus on retraining our teachers in coding running records. We are helping them to understand how to use running records differently in order to teach children at the point of difficulty. We've got our literacy partnership for the first time ever that we are in every elementary school. We have, as one principal said, we have high quality planning. We have some differentiated PD happening at the school level, I'm glad to see, and certainly a district focus on guided reading. So there's a lot of wonderful things that are happening that I suspect plays a part in why our scores are higher. But last week we had a reading recovery session, and the mayor was able to come to that session. And Carl Feblis, is that the way to say his name? He is the executive principal at J.E. Moss, and he made this statement, and I'd like to read it. The full implementation of reading recovery means that every child in first grade who needs the intervention gets it. So the full implementation, which he had for the first time this year, the full implementation of reading recovery at J.E. Moss has made a dramatic and positive impact on the reading scores in first grade. Our mid-year text level assessments in first grade show a 24% increase of students scoring at or above benchmark over last year. That's phenomenal, isn't it? This increase can be attributed to several factors, including our school and district focus on guided reading, use of best practices in taking periodic running records, and how to use the data gathered, as well as more professional development on balanced literacy. But the most impactful cause for this increase is the complete implementation of the Reading Recovery Program. The intervention with literacy group services serves almost 50% of the first grade population here at Moss. The Reading Recovery teachers also provide valuable models for the rest of the school and help with our focused guided reading professional development. We are thrilled to have Reading Recovery serving our students. So it's not one, and I can see how it would be very difficult to differentiate because we do have a variety of initiatives and a variety of interventions that are clearly working. I think we're on the right path. Thank you. Yeah.
I really needed to hear some great news today, and this is really good news. I know at the beginning of the school year, we made that decision as to whether or not we were going to allow you guys to take over and do what you felt that you could do. We believed in you guys, and obviously you believed in yourselves, you believed in your students. Of course, we're not where we want to be yet, but this does show that not only are the students capable of learning and growing, but it also shows that you guys are capable of helping them to achieve that growth. So thank you for everything that you're doing. And you guys are talking about guided reading, and there are so many different types of measurements you can use to help students grow and also chart their growth. But give us the feedback that you need so that we can continue to help you in the special population that you have, because all around our district, one of the things that we're seeing is that every school is so different. So whatever you feel works for your school, give us that feedback so that we can help you to continue to make that growth. So thank you.
Ms. Pierce.
Yeah, I won't add too much to it. So many positive things have been said that are so well deserved. So congratulations to these two principals and all the teachers and staff. It's really exciting. And oftentimes when we see those big dramatic gains, we do question. Was there a population swap? Was there something very different in the kids in the building? And you absolutely proved that it's your leadership and your work and your time and investment in these kids, and just thank you so much. I also just wondered if we would be able to get that type of map data disaggregated down for our schools, or if that's in the plans that we could see?
The plan is to, again, the map assessment ended last Thursday, the makeups. But we've already talked with Dr. Joseph and his leadership team about developing a packet of information for board members that has school level and other data. That'll be coming soon.
I just wanted to note that there were several L5 principals, staff, teachers, parents in the audience tonight. So we appreciate the camaraderie. I'm sure that has at least a little something to do with all the success that we're seeing, the idea that you all love what you do, you're good at what you do. We just appreciate you. I do have to send a special shout out to Napier because they always show up and show out. We appreciate you. Just please keep doing what you're doing and then share it because it's obviously working. So yes, thank you.
Well, just to echo my colleagues, congrats to the teachers, to the principals, to everyone who's, making these wonderful things happen. I'm wondering if we are going to replicate what we're doing at these two outstanding Rockstar schools across the district so that we can experience that growth everywhere. I mean, I would love to see that happen. I think that needs to happen.
Yeah, so it's complex. I think as we bring our budget proposal to you soon, you'll see we're going to try to really invest in those things that help us get it right the first time in this budget. And as we look towards the future, we've got to look at how we We know even with doing everything right, there'll be kids who don't get it. And at some point, we got to answer the question, how do we support them as well? But I think these initial investments are going to be towards, how do we keep the best teachers and keep those teachers trained, and how do we make sure that we have the right materials within the building, and how do we keep strong principals and cultivate strong principals? How do we have the right assessments and not too much, but just the right ones, and keep folks moving forward. That we have to think about how we're utilizing time within our buildings, because that is a challenge from place to place. So the state mandates that we do response to intervention blocks, but 163 schools do it 250 different ways, and we've got to figure out how to do better as we think about that and really streamline. So it's complex, and we've got to make sure teachers are in school. So we don't have such a high. We have one of the highest absentee rates in the region, and I think if teachers aren't in buildings, kids aren't getting access to that high quality teacher. So we've got to have a plan to make sure we have incentives to keep teachers in the building and keep them focused on helping our kids. So it's complex, but we'll take a step forward.
Okay, great. Thank you, Dr. Changus. I appreciate that. We'll move on to committee reports. Ms. Fogg, governance.
We held a policy governance committee meeting immediately prior to tonight's board meeting, and we discussed several issues. It was a productive meeting. We first approved a magnet school resolution, which will allow the new administration to apply for a magnet school grant and create new thematic magnets in the district. The grant would allow us to create a new STEAM program at Glencliff, a STEAM program at Inglewood, a STEAM program at Rosebank, Warner Arts Magnet Elementary School, and also a STEAM program at Whitsitt. Second, we had an update on the implementation of the Annenberg Standards, which we adopted a couple of years ago. The Annenberg Standards, which were created by the Annenberg Institute, ensure public accountability and transparency for charter schools. As a district, we have also adopted these standards for other types of schools. The update showed us that the new administration has created sort of a large flow chart that's assessing progress on implementation of the standards. Tonight we heard next steps for this process, and we intend to have another update soon to show that the Annenberg Standards are actually being implemented. We considered the new revocation policy, which will go into effect on March 28th, 2017. It is based on a recommendation by the transition team, which stated which recommended that we use the same criteria for removing a child from a choice school as we use for removing a child from a zone school and a charter school. The district has decided to eliminate our district policy that allows revocations at those schools. We discussed a proposed ethics disclosure and lobbyist registration policy, creating a new policy. Metro ordinance requires lobbyists to register, and it also requires the filing of ethics disclosures. We are considering as a board policy revisions which would mirror the Metro government requirements, and we intend to have a future meeting concerning how these policies are implemented already in city governance so that we might create a policy of our own. And finally, we received an update on pending charter legislation at the state level. We discussed House Bill 310, Senate Bill 1197, which would include an extensive rewrite of the current charter school law. And so we had some discussion around that topic, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Fogg. Teaching and learning, Ms. Buggs.
We heard presentations from two different teams regarding reading recovery. We heard from the research team to look at, raw data and understand what that looks like for our literacy goals with reading recovery. And then we heard from teacher leader data, so the teacher leaders that are actually implementing reading recovery. We had a very meaty discussion around the data, but it was certainly more objective than subjective. We tried to make sure that we look at what will be most effective in the district, how can we best spend dollars and still maintain fidelity with implementation, fidelity with our literacy and our strategic plans and goals. So we didn't really come to any conclusions after hearing from this information, but it will be ongoing. We've started the process of setting an agenda for each meeting for the rest of the year. We have also set a monthly meeting, so it'll be the second Wednesday of each month if anyone would like to attend. That concludes my committee report.
Thank you, Ms. Buggs. We'll move on to chair report. I really don't have a formal chair report tonight. I just have a couple things I would like to mention. For our viewing audience in the world, we would like to welcome Mr. David Sevier, our newest board employee. His title is Director of Board Relations and Management. World, meet David Sevier. And we're looking forward to your working with us. Thank you, David. And I wanted to say that I really appreciated the document that we received entitled Frequently Asked Questions for MNPS Families with Immigrants and Refugees document that we got across the district. I think it's important that our students and families feel safe and valued in our schools and in their homes. And furthermore, I would fully support extra steps and measures taken for protecting our students and their families, including a couple of things that were mentioned tonight, having the resolution, the Safe School resolution, and a district policy, and how we address those very important issues, because we need to make sure that our students and families are safe and feel safe, especially when they're within our schools. So, having said that, we'll move on to announcements, and we'll start at this end with Ms. Buggs.
I'm sorry, I have a few different announcements. The Napier-Sutica or Envision Napier-Suticum, those monthly CAG meetings are still happening. If anyone in the viewing audience or any of you out there would like to join, they are still looking for input, similar to what happened or what is happening with Envision Casey. They're looking to get community input. If you have questions about joining, please feel free to email me, cbugs@mnps.org. I can give you information about visiting. The next board meeting, I'll have more up-to-date information about groundbreaking and just kind of the level of input that we've given so far. In the fall semester, Hume Fogg Academic Magnet put on a show called Big Fish. It was an off-Broadway musical, complete with professional level. It was a professional level production, but it was complete with live music. Their band and their orchestra played, and it was wonderful. And they're having their spring show, Rent, which will be opening this Thursday, March 2nd, and will run through March 4th at 7 p.m. Contact the school for tickets. They're relatively cheap. I think they may have been $5 or $10, but just go and support some students. You really will enjoy the night. Also, we have some very talented students throughout MNPS, but of course in my district. 7 Ways to Sunday is a play that was written by not MNPS families per se, but some Nashville residents, and they employed MNPS students, other Nashville residents, and it made its way to TPAC. It's one that I would say, 90% of the thespians are under 18, and they did such a good job. So we'll be hearing more about that because they are going to do another run of the show, and I would love for as many people to see it as possible because there are a lot of underlying themes that are that need to be discussed, in the comforts of home. So we'll talk about that more as that comes. MNEA is beginning to have regular showings of different documentaries just to have discussions with the community, and I think it's a good space to talk about concerns that you may have in your school or with curriculum or with testing or whatever big topic item is on the menu that night. And they're having another one this Wednesday or tomorrow at the MNEA headquarters. It starts at 6 o'clock. Of course, it's free to come. So something else happening. You can see a lot of stuff in Nashville for free. Thank you.
Ms. Pierce.
Yes, yesterday I got to spend the morning at several schools in my district to honor the art students whose art was selected for the National Beautiful Contest, the art that goes on the recycle trucks. So we had Amelia Wang and Abby Hill from Julia Green, Benny Bonadies and Hudson Burden from Glendale Spanish Immersion, and Finn Harris and Khalil Armstrong from Waverly Belmont. And Khalil was actually the grand prize winner for the whole city. So it was a really fun morning. So be on the lookout for their art around town. And then the other, I want to congratulate Hillsborough High School's principal, Dr. Schuler Pelham. He was recently recognized and awarded the William J. and Lucille H. Field Award in support of excellence in Tennessee's high schools. And I've just really enjoyed working with Dr. Pelham, and just wanted to give him that shout out. And then also at Hillsborough, beginning March 9th and running through the 13th at 7 o'clock there, Hillsborough players will be putting on Guys and Dolls. And then one more thing, both Weston Middle and J.T. Moore's girls basketball teams squared off twice in the last couple of weeks for the Western Division Championship, and then again they both continued to progress and played for the city championship. Weston Middle did come out on top, but J.T. Moore fought hard, so congratulations, girls, for your basketball skills.
I don't have a lot, except it looks like we're done with the snow for the year.
Hooray.
Snowstorm tomorrow. I want to give a shout out to Dr. Monique Felder. She helped us to arrange a field trip to Pond Gap, and we did that in went to Pond Gap in Knoxville. I was hoping to have a video tonight, but it got here too late for me to peruse it. So perhaps at our next meeting, we'll be able to show maybe a short 1 minute, 90-second video clip on that trip. And I know that we are excited about the possibility of doing going on another field trip to right here in Nashville at our Community Achieve School. So we will look forward to hearing more about that, Dr. Felder. Read Across America is right around the corner, and March 2nd, I'll be at Gateway to read to first graders. And Anna Shepard and I went to Maplewood at the invitation of Jared Amato. Yes, is that our friend back there? Hey there, TC. Jared is doing something called Project Literature.
Project Lit.
Project Lit. And the book we were reading was Crossover. And we were able to sit at different, they had all sorts of community members there and students, and we were able to sit at the tables with the students, and there was a protocol of discussion questions, and it was so rich, and the enthusiasm of the students was contagious. Sue Kessler has worked diligently to be able to offer a third meal for our students at Hunters Lane. That started last week, so we are offering supper at 2:30 for 45 students at Hunters Lane. So thank you to everyone who helped to make that a reality. 100 Hunters Lane seniors travel to the American Baptist College to gain insight on the importance of college and career goals. And Dr. Sue Kessler and 2 members of her staff presented at a conference on January the 31st at the Music City Center. And the presentation centered on intervention and responsibilities of the entire faculty to increase student achievement. 100% of seniors at the MNPS Virtual School completed the FAFSA for financial assistance. And that concludes my announcements.
Mr. Pinkston.
Yeah, I just want to say congratulations to my friend Brittany Walker, who is a kindergarten teacher at Paragon Mills Elementary. She is their Teacher of the Year this year, and I had the opportunity to read to her kindergarten class yesterday as part of Read Across America Day. Every child in her class is an English learner. Some have been here for a year, some as recently is just 2 or 3 weeks in terms of new arrival. And it was fascinating to watch a highly effective teacher at work and kind of all of the energy, and she puts like her whole body into it in terms of getting them drawn into what she was doing. So I got to read some Dr. Seuss, and they liked it, I think, and I look forward to visiting again. And Madam Chair, I agree with your assessment that the board needs to continue to look for opportunities to send a strong signal to our new Americans that we've got their back. Lastly, just wanted to say thank you to Dr. Joseph. We visited the remaining 5 schools in my district that he had not been to. We did that on Friday. We started at Glencliff High School, moved to Glenview Elementary, Una Elementary, Smith Springs Elementary, and then, Glengarry Elementary. We did Glenview previously. That Glen guy gets around. Glenview, Glencliff, Glengarry. That was a joke. Not very funny. But ended up at Glencliff Elementary School. And, I just want to say, what a kind of privilege it is to go on those visits because, Dr. Joseph has just a very unvarnished approach to these things. I mean, he asks the same 3 questions to every principal that we talk to, which is what's going right, what's not going so well, and what do you need from us? And I appreciate the unvarnished approach to and getting out in the field. So that was 150 for you as of the end of that day. So he gets around. Thank you. That's my announcements.
I, too, just wanted to highlight Read Across America Week, which is actually my favorite week of the year. Although I have to say, I think the schools come up with costumes for the week just to torture parents because I had to come up with an alien costume for Monday and tomorrow scrambled to come up with an astronaut costume, which is really challenging, but the kids have a lot of fun, and I usually read to folks in my district. I got invited this morning to read at Fall Hamilton Enhanced Option School, so I enjoyed reading to a pre-K class there, and I appreciate all the great work from the teachers and all of the volunteers that make this happen every year.
Dr. Brannon.
Yes, I'd like to commend the students at Oliver Middle Prep on their Black History program that they presented yesterday as I was a guest. The drama department, the choral arts, and the jazz band performed, and the student body really appreciated the high quality of talent that was displayed by all of the students. I was also at Shane yesterday, and we welcomed 24 principals from Guangzhou, China. The student body and the principal welcomed them with lunch and a tour of the building. And finally, I'd just like to thank the Dan Mills students again for the nice goodie bags that they presented to us. Thank you.
Gentry.
I want to start off probably with the hardest one, but I have to do them in the order that I wrote them down. I want to congratulate Anaya Milford, the Black Americans United organization president at Hume Falk High School, and Taylor Gentry, who serves as their director of communications, for a wonderful panel that they coordinated and put on last Thursday. It was actually held at the Masons Hall across the street from the school because their auditorium is under construction. But the panel was a call to action, the state of African American teens in Nashville. We are all a little too familiar with the challenges that we're having these days in that space and with that age group. On the panel, we had the chief of police, Chief Anderson, Sheila Calloway, the juvenile court judge. We had Freddie O'Connell, who's the representative for that district where Hume Falk resides, District 19, and Dr. Sean Joseph also served on the panel and answered questions that were actually submitted by the students of Hume Falk, along with questions that were sent over a Twitter feed that they set up. The panel itself was recorded by a student reporter at the school, which was then posted on the school's website, as well as an article in their paper called The Nightly News. You may have seen young Miss Gentry on the news being interviewed, and she did I know her school proud. She did her city proud. I also want to thank Mayor Berry for opening up the panel and giving remarks about her efforts with helping the youth here in Nashville with job opportunities and other incentives to help keep them focused on doing well. So congratulations to Anaya and Taylor. Had an opportunity to spend some time with a group of young ladies at Jolton Middle School, and I believe they call themselves the Diamonds, but we're going to work on that a little bit later. So that was for Christian. And got an opportunity just to share with them my background and my upbringing and the path that I had to travel and obstacles that I had to navigate. And I tell, when I get the opportunity, which I get the opportunity often, I don't think I take the opportunity often to share my story about the fine line between being a success and a statistic. And it's great to see schools like Napier and that are growing their partnerships and getting the support that students need, because that's what makes the difference for kids that are just on that cusp and on that line of one wrong decision, one wrong turn, one bad encounter that can just really put you on a different path of success. So I appreciate that opportunity to do that. There was also the first annual Great Debate was held at Gordon Memorial this past Saturday. And I was one of the judges for the Great Debate. So it was two levels. There was a high school level, which was McGavick's debate team against Pearl Cohn's. Pearl Cohn's debate team. And then on the collegiate, it was Tennessee State University's debate team against Vanderbilt's debate team. And it was actually the first time that those two teams, amazingly, had ever debated. And their resolutions were around public community discourse, a public discourse to promote policy changes. And so that was really good discussion and extremely, extremely, extremely well attended. So congratulations and thanks to Gordon Memorial for that opportunity. And since, Ms. Hunter made her allusion to something in the past, I just want to say that to thank Dr. Joseph, the central office leadership team for helping us being able to stand tall on the decision that we made 6, 7, 8, however many months ago it's been now as a board to bring you on board and to support you in the decisions and the changes that you have made in this district. You continue to prove us right. You continue to work us to death, but you continue to prove us right. And we couldn't be more proud for your transparency, for your commitment, for your focus, for the expertise and the talent that you have brought to this district with you and also with your team that you have assembled, and with the decisions and the hirings that just trickle themselves down to the classroom. And tonight's presentation has just given us the that we needed. We're not at the drop the mic moment yet, but we have taken the cord out of the mic, and we believe we're going to be able to drop it soon. So thank you so much. And I know it hasn't been easy. I know the hours are long, but I want you I hope you are starting to feel at least the fruits of your labor. And please know, I make strong distinctions between the words thank you and appreciate it. We appreciate the efforts and the time that it is taking and the sacrifices away from family, away from home, being here with us on these nights, and just doing what you do every day for the students, teachers, and faculty, and for our community. So we appreciate it.
Thank you. I have a few myself. I want to say thank you to Stanford Montessori, Hermitage Elementary, Fall Hamilton, Tulip Grove, schools for inviting me to read on Read Across America Week. It, too, is one of my favorite weeks. I love it. Also, want to extend congratulations to all the teachers that made tenure tonight on the consent agenda. A reminder to my colleagues that we have a board retreat this weekend, starting at 8:30 on Friday morning until 5-ish, and then 8:30 on Saturday until around noon at the Martin Professional Development Center. Good luck to the McGavick Drama Club as they travel to Louisville, Kentucky tomorrow to compete in regional competition. They were the only public high school winner in the state competition, so I'm wishing them good luck. I think they'll do really well. And that concludes my announcements. Ms. Buggs.
Be there no further business, this meeting is adjourned.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.